Hey there, good people. What's going on, man? What's going on? You are watching a live episode of Oh My Josh. So it is February 10th in the year of our Lord 2024. It is a unseasonably warm day here in North Carolina. This is what my folks growing up would call pneumonia weather because it's 70 degrees in February, and that's not normal for um, North Carolina this time of year. So if you see me perspiring, that's why it's hot in this house. Um, and so sorry about that. Just making sure that you can hear me. It's hot in my house, but I refuse to turn on the air conditioning because I will not be sick. There's too much going around. There's the flu. There's COVID. COVID's still out there. Other variants and stuff is going around. So if I do catch something, it won't be because of my own accord. Right? Because I don't have time to be sick. I got a lot going on. If you uh, saw the show last week, you saw that there's some new things they'll bring up for me in regards to my passion for acting and theater, as well as in my uh, career, I work as an IT specialist for the federal government, and there are a lot of new things happening there as well. So, all in all, 2024 has been a busy year, but busy good. It's always been interesting to see how life plays itself out. But I do want to acknowledge first and foremost that this is Black History Month. Y'all see my chocolate shirt, 100% melanin, always. Now, and I know if we go back into our ancestry, which I've never done, that whole ancestry.com thing, I've never really understood it. I don't know if I, necessarily believe it, but I've never done it. I know people who have done it and have found interesting things about themselves. And I'm sure if I ever were to do it, I would find some interesting things about myself as well. But as of right now, I'm 100% melanin. And there's nothing wrong with that because, as they say, melanin don't mangle or black don't crack. If you want to, go along with that. But I want to start out first and acknowledge those who have paved the way before us. So I wanted to drop some Black history facts on you really quick. So this gentleman you see here is Carter Godwin Woodson. Carter G. Woodson began Negro History Week, the forerunner of Black History Month, during the second week of February in 1926. He was a noted historian, journalist, author, and the founder of the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, currently known as the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. He died on April 13th, 1950, in Washington, D.C., at the age of 74. Dr. Woodson is remembered as a historian, journalist, author, and the father of Black history. So, yeah, Black History Month was once Black History Week. We only got a week to be proud of our heritage. Now we get 28 days. This year we actually get 29. So, good looking out. We get an extra day to be proud to be Black. Of course, now I'm being facetious when I say, we get an extra day to be Black. We're Black all year, 365. But we do want to acknowledge that this is the month that we, pay homage to our Black historians, our Black innovators who paved the way for us to do some of the great things that we do. So yeah, also wanted to shout out this picture as well. This is a picture of Dr. Lyndon B. Johnson signing the Civil Rights Act. Now, this picture was actually taken on July 2nd, 1964, but since we're doing This Week in Black History on February 10th, 1964, the United States House of Representatives passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 after 70 days of debate. 70 days. Now, again, it was a different time in 1964, which it wasn't that long ago. Which, when you actually think about it, my mom and my father were actually some of the first children to be desegregated in their schools, and it's like, wow, man. A lot of times you like to think that we're far removed from those things, but if we think about it, it's not that far. So yeah, just wanted to shout out This Week in Black History, Dr. Carter G. Woodson and the Civil Rights Act. two wonderful, wonderful events in the history of Black American history. So I know that this is Super Bowl weekend. I am not an athletic person at all. I was born without an athletic gene. Uh, I was uh, I was not given a black. I was not given a black. I was not given an athletic bone in my body. So that's just not who I am. So I'm not a sports guy. But I do try to watch the Super Bowl when it comes out, mostly because for the halftime show, because that's the only thing I kind of understand. Now, my brother, who is a avid sports fan, like he probably gets tired of me asking questions about what does that mean, what is this? It's a lot more technical than I figured that it would be. But it's football and it's not going away. So I might as well, at least enjoy it one time a year, right? So it only goes one time a year. But speaking of sports, so if you saw the promo for this episode, we're talking about the talk show host. Well, two interviews that the talk show host Shannon Sharp had on his YouTube TV show, Club Shay Shay. Now, I don't know much about Shannon Sharp. I know that he is a retired football player. That's pretty much all I know. He was a commentator or correspondent on ESPN until things went south with his co-host. But again, I'm not familiar with that world. It's not that I that actively avoid it. It's just that I'm not necessarily interested in that per se. Um, but I am glad that he has found his own path. I kind of heard rumors about him and his is it Skip Bayless? I want to say Skip Bayless. That sounds right. If I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody will correct me. But I'm kind of glad that he found his own niche and he found his own audience in this forum. However, I sometimes I wonder um I wonder about the black community, especially with the two instances that I'm going to speak about this evening, because I've seen snippets of other uh, episodes of Club Shay Shay, and they're not as in your face or as demonstrative or as accusatory as his interviews with Cat Williams and Monique have been, and I don't know if this is a new pattern that he's going towards, or this is what he's trying to. This is the audience that he wants, because I've seen this a lot of times that um wherein we find where the drama is, and we all just attach ourselves to that. And my mind goes back to Maury Povich. The Maury Povich show was very, very different in its beginnings. And then they found the niche of the who's your daddy, and we're gonna pay for your paternity test, and you can scream and holler and all that stuff, get a free trip to New York or wherever it was filming. And it's like every episode was that. Every episode was that. We were well, not we, because I didn't participate, but a lot of people were on the edge of their seats trying to find out if this man or these men were the father of one child. And a lot of times these were black Americans. um and I mean, it's the truth. And most times you kind of knew before they even came out what was going on. And it was the stories where, for me, it was the stories where the gentleman did turn out to be the father that kind of gets glazed over. Like, this child has a family now, and we're not acknowledging that. No, we'd rather see sister girl like roll around on the floor and call for Jesus and run out the studio, as if that's going to make any difference. You've been pretty much classified as as the old folks say, a strumpet, or or a whoremonger. And it's like, was it really worth sacrificing your reputation to come and do this? But we're not talking about Maury. That's I'm setting the precedence for what I'm trying to say. Club Shay Shay, it almost seems as if he's moving his show towards that. We're thriving. The show is thriving off the drama of his guests. Now, so we know Cat Williams. The black community for sure knows Cat Williams. The black community knows Monique. These are celebrated comedians, comic actors, stand-up comedians in our community. They've had a long career trajectory. They have done films. What is it? Next Friday, and the Parkers. There's a long list. Precious. There's a long list of things. I believe Kat says in his interview there's 12 stand up specials with Netflix, or 12 specials in all. I think so. Yeah. So we applaud them for the great work that they have done for our community. However, when we get into this form, it just seems like, to me, it seems like that whole crabs in a barrel type, type situation wherein there's a need of pulling someone else down in your community in order to make yourself look, feel, or sound better. So I just want to play. If you haven't seen the interviews in full, they are rather long. I believe they're both about 2 hours each, but I am going to play just a snippet of both interviews from YouTube. It's from YouTube, so hopefully there's not any copyright infringement. If there is, that wasn't my intent. But I did want to show these two clips. First will be Cat Williams, and then we'll hear from the Monique interview.
Cedric did the same thing. Cedric told you when you asked him, did you steal Cat Williams' joke? Yeah. He said, it don't line up. How it don't line up that I did it on TV in 2018? You came to see me at the Comedy Store do it in 2019 and then did it on the Kings of Comedy. Like, what doesn't line up? This is a televised joke that Mark Curry helped me punch up and get to the level that it was. The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had. Now Steve got a sitcom where he the principal and he wear a suit and then he gets this high top fade, making all black men think he got the best lineup in the business. And it's a man unit. Then you asked it, why you not a movie star? I didn't want to be a movie star. This the same Negro that hated on Bernie with this same thing. I didn't want to be a movie star. No, you couldn't be a movie star. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them asks for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good, baby, and look like Mr. Potato Head. There ain't none. You would have to have range. I played a lot of characters, 60 movie roles. I'm not playing Cat Williams in there.
I don't know, Cat. We might not let you drink anymore the way we ain't even got...
I'm not fueled by alcohol. I've had a sip, less than you.
So one thing about Cat Williams is that he can tell a story. He's engaging. He draws you in. He has a very, very strong presence about himself. And being a man of smaller stature, he probably has to, but it also speaks to his skill as well. He's a comedic genius. I mean, there's some vernacular in the Black community that comes from Cat Williams. So yeah, but again, it's kind of that mentality of where, and I see both sides of it. He goes on to talk about, and he starts, in this clip, he starts talking about Cedric the Entertainer, then he goes into Steve Harvey, then he speaks about Ricky Smiley, and it's what's disheartening for me is that why is it that we feel we have to continually compete amongst each other? Why are we always competing? I don't really know how else I want to express that. Now, again, I'm an actor. I'm an actor in theater, and I've done film. In comparison to Cat Williams, I'm very, very small. Probably, Z minus list compared to him. And I'm very aware, even in my case, I'm aware of the competitiveness and the fight, to be seen, to be heard, to be selected, because there are so many others out there who have similar dreams and similar skills. So I understand the competitiveness of it. However, when it comes to the Black community, and this is just my opinion, you can agree, you can disagree, you can be indifferent, But when it comes to the Black community, it always seems as if we have to pull someone else down in order to pull someone's star down to make our star shine brighter. And if you watch if you watch the interview in its entirety, he goes on and say that that's not what he came on the show to do, but it's kind of what he did, you know. And on the outside looking in, if you don't know these comedians, now Steve Harvey may have a bigger audience than Cat Williams because it's Steve Harvey, you know, he's the Family Feud guy. So he has a wide array of audiences that see him and know him, and those people have probably never ever heard of Cat Williams, and now they see this interview because it's been viewed by 58 million people at the start of the year. They see this and it makes him look like he's being bitter, you know? And it kind of knocks his credibility a bit in their eyes. Now, again, it's a catch-22. I understand both sides, but I think it's just disheartening that that's happening, you know, amongst people who we hold in high regard. Now, this is by no means an out for the things that he has experienced. This is his experiences. This is what he walked through life with. These are, you know, moments that were true to him. And I believe these things happen. I believe the stories that he told. I still don't know if they were merited to present in this type of forum because and Monique kind of does the same thing. But well, let me play her clip next, and then I'll come back with my argument.
Now, when I said it,
Why didn't it get the traction when you said it that when she said it? Now all of a sudden everybody is coming, and I don't have a problem. I'm glad.
Yes.
But if you said this a decade ago, and I remember you saying it over a decade ago, why didn't it get the traction? Why didn't it get the support? Why wasn't it propped up when Monique said it?
I think there's a few reasons why. Number one, it was the messenger. I should just be grateful I got invited to the party. You a big fat black woman. How dare you be the one? And then on top of that, you're saying names. You're saying Oprah's name out loud. You're saying Tyler's name out loud. You're saying Lee's name out loud. You're saying Lionsgate out loud. That's not what we do. We say they. We say the people. We say the studio. We say the producers. How dare you actually say our heroes' names?
You're very specific.
These are our heroes. How could you say their names out loud? Because they're the ones that did it. And if I don't say it out loud, now you see a woman that is swallowing that pain, that is so stressed out. Then you see our sister Taraji P. Henson sit on that platform. And I love that baby because she's a beautiful spirit. But to see her that broken, what our community was saying was, we have a hard time, some of us, we have a hard time seeing a strong black woman with a back straight and a chin up and a strong black man standing by her side. We have a hard time accepting that.
So, yeah, again, kind of in line with what I was saying before, we speak their names. And that is from a piece that I can't recall right now. But yeah, we speak their names. And again, there's merit to both Kat's story and Monique's story. That is their experience. If you don't know Monique, what he was referring to in the first half of that conversation, Monique did call for a protest against Netflix because of, you know, some things that were happening with her, and it wasn't Melissa McCarthy, it was another white comedian. And she felt as if things weren't fair. And this was some time ago when this came out, and people were sort of lambasting her for, you know, going about it the way that she did. And then in this year, with the last part of last year and the beginning of this year, we see Taraji P. Henson with a similar argument, and the response was not the same. People seem to have applauded Taraji for speaking out. And Monique mentions that here that it was the messenger that kind of caused that, that difference. Um, but again, it's just to me, and this is, each his own. But I really don't know if that's the best thing to do, is calling out the names of people who, because again, we're, as a community, as a people, as a race, we're already steps, years, generations behind some of our counterparts. And it's like, again, I'm not excusing what people did to them. I'm not excusing the people that they have named for their actions. But I'm pretty sure that there have been other instances where people who aren't black, who aren't in our community, who aren't a part of the culture, have wronged them, but we're not calling their names. You know, we're not saying that this non-black, non-BIPOC person did this. Because a lot of the studios we don't own. Most of the studios we don't own. And some of those decisions that are made, some of the production decisions are made by people who don't look like us. But we'd rather sit here and attack each other than, band together and say, hey, we got our differences. But we need to work together. We need to find some commonality and move forward and work together and take pride in what we're doing, I think we put some, and I think Monique mentioned this later on in her interview as well. She was more happy to receive the NAACP Image Award. Well, I won't say she was more happy. She took more pride in receiving the NAACP Image Award than the acclaimed Academy Award. And I applaud her for that, because again, the NAACP Image Award comes from our community. It comes from people who look like us and say, hey, sister, we see what you're doing and we're proud of you as a people. And so, but to go back and throw each other under the bus in these ways, it gives a bad interpretation to me. So that's why I asked the question: are these interviews, are these revelations, are they a necessary evil, or are they just simply unnecessary? Um, because it's good to know what you're getting into. As someone who does have a passion and a dream to be not necessarily famous, but in the industry and having a substantial career in that industry. But again, we go to work with people every day that we don't necessarily like. There's been instances at our jobs where we're like, this is wrong, but I got bills to pay, you know? Like that car note don't care if my feelings was hurt. That mortgage don't care if somebody stepped on my foot, you know? I gotta pay that. They coming for that money. And if I ain't got it, after a while, they gonna shut it off. And then I'm walking around stink because I ain't got no water. But anyway, but it's true. Like the problems that these two wonderful comedians are having are not brand new. They're not brand new. And it's not to say that we shouldn't speak on things that have been done to us, that have hurt us or that have wronged us. Um, but there has to be some kind of tact to it, some kind of diplomacy. Um, and to some that might sound cowardly. But I still think that there is a lens that is watching us that is not, you know, that is not us. They're on the outside looking in, making judgments and saying, "Oh, so that's how they move over there." So if we continually to put them against each other, that's how things are gonna play out. But I'm not the only one that thinks that. I want to play you this clip from TikTok really quick. Hold on one second.
I want to appeal to our comedians to stop going after each other in public like this. You're embarrassing yourselves. You're embarrassing our community. I know many times you have to defend yourself about what's being said, but why can't we do it directly? And I just want you to know, I believe that we're being laughed at all the major studios and by their executives, seeing us in public, black folks going at each other. You don't see this among other communities. And that's why I say you're hurting yourselves and you're hurting our community and you're hurting the young people who are looking and want to learn and need to learn how to resolve disputes in a better way. I'm no saint. I'm guilty of having temper issues from time to time on my show. That's entertainment. You guys say what you want as part of your entertainment, but don't go out your way and personally attack each other, particularly your families. I appeal to you for that. Let's not turn on each other. Let's turn toward each other.
That was the Honorable Judge Greg Mathis, who had a court television show for many, many years. And he's saying a lot of what I'm saying. There are organizations and studios and executives and others who they are watching us. They're gazing upon us, and not just the higher ups. We have people generations after us who are looking at these established comedians and actors and authors and saying that, is this the way I should go about it? I should just, lash out verbally on a public forum and just call these people to the carpet. And that's one of my issues too. Like, so when does it end? Because now every person that has been called out has a response, and then that causes another response, and it just catapults into something that's chaotic. It's very chaotic. In Monique's interview, she calls out D.L. Hughley, who responds, I believe, on Instagram or TikTok, and then she responds to him. And then there's Cedric the Entertainer and Ricky Smiley. They both address Cat Williams, and it's like, it's just infighting. It's the infighting that hurts us as a community. It does, because there's power in numbers. There's really, really power in numbers and in unity. And the black dollar pretty much finances the world, but that's another conversation. But I, we have so much power. We have so much more power when we work together and we move together than these instances where we cause these dramatic moments, and we have these memes and these quotes that people kind of run with and take out of context, because both Kat and Monique expressed several times in their interviews how much they still have love and respect for some of the people that they mentioned in their interviews, but we don't see that. A lot of people are more akin to the drama part of things. It's like, oh, we take these interviews and we put them in forums and we try to instigate, and it's like, oh, well, I knew such and such, but nothing, and he said this and he said that, and you shouldn't be liking this. No. There's room for all of us. There's room for all of us. If that wasn't true, we wouldn't have so many of these black actors and comedians in these places and in these spaces. So, and each one of them have their own audience, you know. And for me, sometimes some of the things that I heard in these interviews just sounded as if they were coming from a place of bitterness, you know. I think Kat kind of categorizes, him having so many specials in comparison to some of the counterparts that he named, but these counterparts have films and TV shows that are actually on the air right now. And if he is on something, a regular serial, I'm not aware of it. So I don't want it to feel like, we have to disqualify what someone else is doing based upon what we deem as success, because success can come in a myriad of ways. Happiness comes in a myriad of ways. What I consider myself to be successful is might be different than what you consider yourself to be successful. You got out of bed today. That's a success for you. That's successful enough for you, you know? And yes, that is a success because everybody didn't get up. But what I deem as successful is a bit farther from that. So we can't qualify or disqualify what someone else's success looks like. Because there's some chances that these people have had that you haven't. And maybe you chose not to have those. So, but if you chose not to have those, or you chose not to take on those challenges or those tasks, why continue to let that fester inside of you? I think Kat mentions at least scripts that he saw for, was it 5 scripts or 5 years of scripts that were initially brought to him that went to Kevin Hart. And it's like, so it didn't work out for you creatively. You had creative differences with the script, with the producers, and it went to somebody else. So continue to bring it up. It kind of makes you look bitter to me, in my honest opinion. So I don't know. I don't know. So again, it's a catch-22. It's very, very hard to say, what the right answer is. Um, but I really think that there could be other measures and other ways that we can approach these types of conversations without the backbiting and the infighting that it's turning into. And I'm sure it's only gonna continue because it's making money. And that's where the root of all of it comes from, is the economical aspect of it and the fiscal aspect of it. 58 million viewers, millions of dollars that Shannon Sharp is receiving, and Cat Williams, and the notoriety, and now Cat Williams and Monique are going on tour together, or where she's joining his tour. So there's money, and then at that point, for me, it became strategic. Let me put this out there and stir up some trouble, and now people are going to come to my show because now they want to hear more. They want to be fed more. All of these reality shows, when they initially started, it wasn't about the dramatics. It was about real life, and real life isn't as interesting as we think it is most times. I mean, how interesting is it for you to brush your teeth every day? That's life. That's reality. And now we are in a stage where reality is, made up scenarios that people are sacrificing their moral compass, for the mighty dollar, or for notoriety and fame. And it's like, why must we continue to sacrifice our dignities in order to gain, credibility outside of where we initially wanted to be? There's a scripture in the Bible said, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? It's like, it doesn't have to be this way. I would have more respect for these actors and comedians if they were to handle these issues backstage, behind the scenes, on the phone, in litigation if they have to, than to put it out there and for the public opinion, and then for us to be instigators, which we will do. So it just troubles me. And again, I would love to hear where you are with it, what your take on it is. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me, you can be indifferent. But what do you think about these types of interviews? And I'm sure they're going to continue because now everyone's on the defense. Everyone's defensive. They have to defend their side of the argument. And your experience, we can have the same experience and come out with two different perspectives. And so that's why it's hard to kind of pick sides, because again, everyone's not always right, everyone's not always wrong, but everyone is always human. And that human aspect with that human aspect comes a lot of other things, a lot of other issues because we're not perfect. And if the situation was perfect, as soon as we walked in, it was imperfect because we aren't perfect. We might mean well, and I still believe that people in general are inherently good. But being human, there's a weight to being a human because we're fickle. A lot of times, we are a fickle people. Our moods and our emotions can change at the drop of a hat. You say something that triggers me emotionally, I'm going to, now we got to fight. Because you said something that triggered me that happened years ago, and now I feel like I'm in that situation again. I feel threatened, so now I have to approach you in a way that. So yeah, I'm kind of just running on now and pontificating. But so yeah, I really would thank you first of all for watching this episode. If you watched it in the replay, thank you for that. I would love to read your comments, whether it's on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, wherever. What do you think? You know, what do you think? Are these interviews a necessary evil or just simply unnecessary? So I do want to share this one TikTok video with you before I go. That kind of puts a smile on your face. As we know, Bernie Mac was one of our great comedians as well, who passed on some years ago. And so this this young lady, and I forgot to get her name, and I do apologize for that. But this young lady did have a skit on TikTok, kind of addressing these issues as well, with a little comic aspect to it. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you next week on Oh My Josh.
Hey, how y'all doing up there? Jane Brown, what is you doing answering the phone? Huh? Oh, Michael Jackson had to use the bathroom and he asked you to sit up there. Oh, you know folk can't hardly understand what you be saying, Jane. What you out of breath for? Oh, y'all having a Valentine dance and you practicing. Well, listen. Did Michael show you how to transfer the phone? I got to wait till he come back. Well, can you transfer me to Bernie Mac? Yeah. Bernie, how you? Listen, I got a serious problem and I knew I could call on you to help. Let me tell you something. The comedians is down here acting a complete fool. And I need you to send a sign, send a pigeon in a bottle, send a message, something. I need you to get them together because when I tell you I'm sick of it, I'm sick of it. Between Cat Williams, D.L. Hughley, Monique, then Cat Williams tried to drag Ricky Smiley in it, and you know I love Ricky Smiley. Yeah, something got to be done. And then they doing all this on Black History Month. Uh-huh. You believe it? Lord, sure did. They cutting up because Dr. King's son got called up there right for Black History Month. Yep. You right. That's probably what it is. Well, what Dr. King and him been doing? You seen them up there? Oh, they getting ready. Okay. Yeah, they having a Black History program at the end of the month. Yeah, I know Dr. Angelou was doing poetry. Did you go? You did. It was good. Well, honey, if it's anything you could do to get these folks together down here, because when I tell you we sick of it, we sick of it. Okay. Thank you, Bernie. We love and miss you, too. Bye-bye.